Hello, good everyone. Today we are going to look at David Finch's How to Draw Kids. And let's get started. Really, we'll see this entire curvy pattern. This video is all about drawing capes. We're going to start with some basic concepts that go into the way that I draw capes, and then we'll put it all together into a drawing of a cape that showcases all of those elements put together. And so I want to go ahead and start with a few basic concepts. We're going to draw the bottom of the cape, and we're going to be looking down at it. And so basically the shape that we're going to draw is like an oval, and the cape is going to come up from that oval, just like this. And we'll have an opening right here. And so actually, I don't have any much experience with drawing capes. Like my characters, usually I don't give them a lot of capes, but capes are part of like materials that are going to be. Hello, Shaki, how you doing? I'm messing up your sleep schedule again. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for asking. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, capes is not something I'm familiar with drawing because when I drew like my characters, when I was doing like character design for most of my characters, I didn't put capes. Um, it's not something I'm that keen on in terms of. I mean, like it's cool for aura farming and stuff like for characters, but I'm just not keen on it. Really erase this line here and this back here, and that's going to give us the front of our cape rounding around the back. And that is a really simple representation. But obviously, we don't see capes that just sit in a perfect oval like that. And so we're going to take this just a step further. I'm going to draw my oval just like this. And on top of that oval, I want to draw some interesting curves and just detail. And I'm just going fairly random with this. And so that's what I've got. And it really doesn't look like much right now. But what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to draw my outside lines coming up from here. I'm going to draw the opening of my cape. I think I'll start here. I'll start here. And so I already know that everything back here is just going to be erased. Let's just go ahead and do that. And this is also going to be erased. And so from here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a line up from here, 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 and that's going to cover it. And so let me just erase away. Yep, we don't see. And so you can see that I'm just using those basic curve shapes in the contour for the bottom of my cape. And so now that's looking down at the cape. Basically, if we have a cylinder, what we're doing here is we're looking at this portion here. All heroes wear capes. Well, my characters technically are not heroes. A lot of them. They are just really flawed people. Yeah, more like anti-heroes than heroes. How are you doing, Art God? Sorry, I missed your comment. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I hope school is going good. Obviously, we're looking at this from above, and so we see the downward curve, and so that's what we have here. If we go ahead and look at this the other way, that's going to be like this. We'll see the bottom, and so I'm going to draw my single oval. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and just take a bit of a random pattern of maybe lines and close it off. I'm going to go ahead and connect the furthest point out just like this. I want to have an opening in the front, so we'll just put it right there for now. It's going to be fine. And go ahead and we'll see a lot more. Really, we'll see this entire curvy pattern here. And so now I can just start to connect these. Oh. This is really all there is to it. It's very easy to create the bottom of a cape either looking down at it or looking up at it just by creating a squiggly pattern and then connecting it up. So the next thing I want to cover is something called diaper folds. And what we're going to do is I'm going to create two pins and I'm going to drape my fabric between those pins. And so my fabric is going to be held up with the pins here. The gravity is going to affect it in the center and push it down. And so that's going to create two types of folds. It's going to create diaper folds down the center, and it's going to create pipe folds on the outside. And so I'm going to go ahead and start with the pipe folds. And to do that, it's very easy. I'm going to use the squiggle again. It's going to be shaped like this. And now all I need to do is just connect this up. And I can do the same thing on the other side. That's going to be my pipe folds are on the outside, and then my diaper folds are going to come through like this, and I'm creating an interlocking pattern just like this. But what's really important to know is that these folds actually, and I'm going to draw this from a bit of an angle so you can see, are actually complete shapes that we can draw dimensionally like this. I'm drawing like a 3D model basically, so you can really see the shapes that I'm drawing. And so,
Hello, Ransford. How you doing? Capes work similarly to skirts with the pleats. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But I don't have much experience drawing capes. I mean, I know how to draw folds and stuff, but I've never like properly sat down to study how clothes work. So this was like one of the, what would I call it now? One of the works that are the videos I was supposed to look at and study. Um, and I just decided to check it out. And I've learned something. Yeah, it's a simple technique. It all comes down to simple shapes, doesn't it? Like simple shapes, and then you add some like use some techniques, and then you're getting something really nice.
it's a complete shape, dimensionally like this.
He's moving really
Is that
fast.
these folds?
He's moving really fast. Let me check. Let me check my work. Mm, I could have I could have done it a lot better, but I'll keep it like this. I could have done it a lot better, but yes, I'm doing another David Finch video. Ransford. It's on superhero capes. That's what it's on. Superhero capes. My pen just almost fell from my hand.
Actually, and I'm going to draw this from a bit of an angle so you can see, are actually complete shapes that we can draw dimensionally like this. I'm drawing like a 3D model basically, so you can really see the shapes that I'm drawing. And so it's a complete shape that we can kind of represent like this. And so you might wonder why I'm drawing these shapes like this instead of drawing them all the way through like this. And the reason for that comes down entirely to lighting. And so I'm going to create a light source coming into my picture at just about this kind of an angle here. And I'm going to create my pins here. My fabric is going to droop between my two pins. I'll get my diaper folds around the outside, so that I can draw very quickly and easily to the other side. And I'm going to draw these all the way through, just like this. But when I like this, I'm going to get a shadow here. And then the upper side here is still going to face a little bit from the light, away from the light. And so I'm going to see the shadow here. And you can see how I'm getting a bit of an interconnection from that. Now I'm going to draw a shadow here. And then the top of that same fold, away from the light, is going to shadow just like this. And then the same thing is going to happen here. And this is a simplified version. It doesn't really look absolutely the best, but I really want to just get the point across of why we're using this kind of an interlocking shape to describe those diaper folds. And these kinds of folds you'll see all over the places could really be the sleeve of a coat. And as the folds drop down, they'll create that kind of a pattern. And so we're going to explore these shapes more in depth and come up with something that looks a little more believable and natural in the most simple form. And we're going to show you why we describe this kind of form in this way. Now, the next thing that I want to discuss, and I'm going to use a pin again for this one. And so here's my pin. And I'm only going to use one pin for this example. From my pin, my fabric is going to take on basically this kind of a shape. And so I want to create my complete pattern again. Really random. just like that. And what's important to know is that this pin is our tension point. All of my clock is hanging down from this pin, and so all of my bolts will need to go toward that connection point. So I'm just going to complete this out again, the way that I did the other ones, and all of these folds are going to go toward that point. A bit of a curve, a little bit more natural looking, and that's really going to be it right there. And so if you have cake in somebody's hand, and I'm going to draw here's somebody's fist, and they're holding a cake in their hand, and so it's coming up from here. I'm going to want to make sure that all of my holds go toward that tension point right up here. And I'm going to end up with smaller folds. And my favorite way of describing those smaller folds is just to come out and give it just a little bit of a hook, just like this. So I'm putting some of those little hooks in here and a little bit more detail with that, but just to make it look a little bit better, so I don't have these large folds. And so now if we draw a body, and I'm going to draw somebody from behind here, so I'm going to draw
Sorry, I didn't
more
catch
detail
that.
with that, but just to make it.
Okay. So far, this has been a lot easier than doing figure drawing. So yeah, the thing about clothes in general is like figuring out the material and how to make that material, how to like figure out the light direction, and where the light is hitting on that material, where the shadows and the light are, and also considering the material like of the whatever clothes the person is wearing, and how to play with light, because light interacts differently with different like outfit materials. And that's the one issue that I've always had with like drawing clothes and stuff like that. So that is why I use references a lot. Um, but at least, when you work in comics, most of the times you have to be a bit spontaneous and proactive. So having all this knowledge and doing all these practices can, sort of like strengthen your visual library, so you know where to place all this stuff.
Look a little bit better, so I don't have these large folds. And so now if we draw a body, and I'm going to draw somebody from behind here, so I'm going to draw a simple shape from my back. And so let's go ahead and lay that down so it doesn't reflect. Like when you're drawing any clothing on someone's body, you really need to draw the body first, so you know exactly where it's properly draped your clothing. All right, so I've got a hole at the top of my cape here, and it's sitting flat along my shoulders, and it's going to come out like this. And really, I'm basically going to be flat all along here, and my folds are going to start about at this point. This is where my cape's going to leave the body and start to fall flat. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my squiggle at the bottom of this, just like this. I'm going to connect this up, and I can start to draw this upward. Now, because my cape is wider at the bottom than it is at the top, and it's connecting it through this whole area, what I want to do is draw these lines up toward this part here. And so they're all kind of arcing inward, just about like this, and connecting up. So let me just go ahead and erase what we don't need. And my folds are going to get much smaller and closer together toward the top and be a little bit more detailed even. Because we'll have some more lines at the top that will fall into larger shapes at the bottom. And before we move on, some more specific examples and some more stylization, I want to show you.
There's a book on how to draw folds on clothes by George Bridgman. Um you should have learned it a long time ago. Why are you deleting messages, bro?
One more
Jesus, man.
important element of the way that I draw. So I have my figure basically brought in here to larger shapes at the bottom. Now, before we move on, some more specific examples and some more stylization, I want to show you one more important element of the way that I draw. So I have my figure basically brought in here. And I have a couple of choices. I'm going to show you a way that I really like to draw a cube. So let's lay this down so it doesn't get in the way. And one choice that I have is to draw the opening for the front of my cube, basically here, and then to rest flat here, and I could pretty much put an opening there. And that's a fairly flat way to draw the cube. Everything is going to be connected just basically through here and start to pipe out below that point, just like this. And that's all well and good if I have a cube right completely over the body so it just stays flat. But that's really not very often the way that a cape sits on a superhero. You'll see much more often is a cape that connects from here, comes up over the shoulders, in this kind of a shape here. And so that's basically the shape that the cape comes across, and our body here is we'll see that the cape sits across the back. But obviously, again, this is very, very simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a lot of holes coming up from here because it's bunching up. And so they're very, very small. And they're going to widen out as they go across the back. And I want to come up like this, put a bit of an indent here, come down. And give it this shape here. And I'm just going to repeat this shape over and over again. And you might want to just play with this. This is going to cross over here because it's in front. It's going to come up here. And then this part is going to cross over this part because, again, this is in front. And that's going to go across here. Another one here. You won't see as much of it. I do another one. This is about here. Again, same shape. Make this up just a bit. And you can see I'm just repeating the same shape, which is just this curve connecting into this shape here, this coming up here, and this coming up here. And all I'm drawing is, if this were a flat shape, it would be coming across like this. And this would be the side face here. But because it's much softer, it deforms downward in the center, and it has overlapping fold shapes. And so it takes on this kind of form here. All right, so now that we have all the boring kind of concept stuff all worked out, I wanted to go ahead and start drawing some real shapes. I've drawn a very, very loose sketchy figure here. This is actually really based on a cover that I did spawn quite a while ago. And we're going to start to draw the concept stuff all worked out. I wanted to go ahead and... All right, so now we're going to draw a real figure. And yeah, let's see. I have to, let me bring these guys out a little bit. That's some nice exercise. That's some nice exercise. Let's see if I can just quickly sketch out the figure. Quickly. Typing mistake. Oh, no problem, bro. All right, so this time I'm going to use a skeleton mannequin to sort of get my figures. So I'm going to imagine this guy here. I'm going to use this guy here. I'm going to put this over here, and I'm going to bring this over here, put this mannequin over here, put the hand over here, put it over here like this, put this over here, put this down here like this. I don't think that is correct, so I'm going to fix that. Put this over here like this, put this down like this, put this guy over here like this, put this down like this, and what else? Put the hand over here like this. There's a bit of a foreshortening, so I'll just put the hand over here like this. Yeah, so I'm just going to put that there, and this is going to be a base for my drawing, kind of similar to what was in How to Draw Comics by Stan Lee and I've forgotten his name. All right, so I'm just going to put the basic shapes. I'm going to add some detail
over here. I'm going to put some muscles, his arm, then his shoulders, then his arm, triceps and biceps, and then I'm doing good, Kaji. Thank you for asking. How are you doing? How's your day? How are you doing? Were you able to do any practices today? I'm going to handle the hands later. I messed up. I shouldn't have handled the body first. I was too eager to sort out this. Anyways, the arms. Okay. Now the arms, the legs, and then the thighs, the muscle, then the legs. Yeah, I think we've gotten the pose. I think we've gotten the pose. Remember, negative space. Uh, have a nice day, Ransford. I did, taking a break so I don't make it a chore. Exactly. Exactly. Another thing you could always do is this practice that I did when I was younger. It always made drawing fun for me. What I'll do is that I would go watch a movie or like a cartoon that I really like, maybe something like Incredibles, for instance, and the characters there. Well, I said this was relaxing, but it's actually more drawing. Probably that's not what you want. But what I did is that like I'll just draw from like those characters, like situations, maybe Dash running or Syndrome, doing like his expression or something like that. Whatever thing that I find cool in just consume the media that I actually appreciate, and that can just get some creative juices flowing, and it could make me want to draw or just like show me why I should keep going, that type of thing. Hello, how you doing? Late Art Space. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining. Yeah, definitely should have made his head a bit bigger. One day I'm going to solve that problem in my art, by the way. One day. One day I'll solve it. Apparently not today. Child, you're not content. Now, the other hand is trying to challenge me, but I shall conquer it. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth one is probably hiding behind. But yep, I think we're good. I wanted to take at least an hour break. Then I'm going to go back. I want to eat basic fundamentals until I can do it in my sleep. Yes, that is exactly the spirit I like. Yeah, the One Punch Man approach. The One Punch Man approach to doing things. Yes, don't worry. I'm always here to keep encouraging. Yeah. Probably not proud of the way I approached that leg. It's always fixable though. I'm an artist who just wants to learn to draw like David Finch. Yep, you're not alone there, my brother. You're not alone there. I also want to learn to draw. Uh, I just want to be as skilled as David Finch, if possibly more skilled, if there's any level higher than that. Uh, yeah, he's so good. He's really good. And I've been learning a lot from him over the past weeks since I think I've been doing this for like 2 weeks now, since I've been watching his videos and stuff. Anyways, I have my sketch over here. I don't think I'm not going to detail it yet because the focus is on the capes, not necessarily on the figure. So I'm going to just reduce the opacity, probably just a little bit.
Our drawings of real shapes. I've drawn a very, very loose, edgy figure here. This is actually really based on a cover that I did Spawn quite a while ago. And we're going to start to draw the cape on this. And I'm going to break down exactly how I did each section. And so to start, my cape is really going to start in the actual figure hand. Skull here and a skull here. And this cape came out over the shoulder here. And you can see that because this is my tension point, you can consider this like a pin. Like we were doing earlier, all of my lines curve over the shoulder into that point. And then with this point, I'm going to do the same thing. And my shoulder is going to curve down and around like this. So I'm going to start to bring my lines around my shape like this. And so that's basically going to be the other point there. And I'm going to put my key in my hand here. And so I want to extend my lines out from it this way. We're all going to curve out like this. And we're going to draw the same kind of shape that we were doing earlier. With a curve here, bring it under, and a curve basically like that. And I connect that. And we'll make this much tighter and cleaner in just a second, but I just want to get these basic shapes established. Now I'm coming across with my shoulder here, and then it's coming down over the back and coming out this way. And I wanted to create essentially this would be like a diamond hole here where it's dropping and then catching from down here. And so I'm just going to flap it over it just like this. And then the back of my cape, as it flies away, I'm going to give it this kind of a curvy shape. And we're going to be looking at these slowly curving away from us. So I'll essentially get back up from here. And again, to make this a lot more interesting, I have the cape draping over my background here. And so I'm going to end up with microphones in here as that drapes over. And I also have my cape wrapping down here.
Uh, did I find the fundamentals hard or did they come relatively easy for me? Um, no, I didn't find it easy, but it was kind of fun for me. Like if you're talking about the fundamental shapes, yeah, the fundamental shapes were easy for me, but it was more fun than like a hassle, right? It was more fun than like say a chore for me. For me, I enjoyed the process. Like currently, I am doing a study. Yeah, technically, I am studying, and I'm enjoying this. It's not like a chore for me. This is fun for me because I get to draw, right? And I'm just getting to level up my skills. Yeah, I'm getting to go from level, let's say I'm level 10, for instance, and I'm getting to go to level 11. Yeah, so for me, it's just fun. If there's anything that's going to be tedious for me, it's going to be perspective, and I know that. And I think the next two videos, or maybe the next video, is going to be on perspective. If I'm like based on what the videos I'm watching with David Finch. So yes, the fundamentals were not. They didn't. I'll say I have aptitude for arts. Like I believe there are people that have aptitude for drawing, and just like there are people that have aptitude for things like mathematics, science, or like other vocational activities, or like even athletes, they have aptitude for certain sports. Yeah, I do actually do believe that, but I also believe in human beings ability to learn anything, even though despite the fact that they may not have the natural aptitude for it, they can still learn anything and become relatively good at it. So it didn't come easy for me, but it was it was the easiest thing that came to me. So I'm very terrible at science and like mathematics and things like that. But art is something that is easier for me. But I still have to work um to at certain things consciously. I have to be intentional about the things that I'm working on to actually improve the art. When do you start streaming so I can join earlier next time? To be honest, I do stream. I have been trying to stream twice daily, but I've not been able to do that for like 5 days now. But usually I do stream. Like the times I stream twice, I do stream at around like 3 or 4 p.m. in the evening. That is West African time, and then I stream at around um between 8 to 10 p.m. I stream African time, West African time. It's just not linear for me, but difficult, but I love it. Exactly. I'm happy that you love it. Yeah. So like it's never linear. Like growth is never linear. Like I've been drawing for years. And I would say like it was towards the end of last year that I actually started studying anatomy. It was towards the end of last year that I properly started studying anatomy. But I had ideas here and there. I had seen things that could help me with anatomy and stuff. But really and truly, I actually started like consciously deciding to improve on my art last year. But I would say back when I was a lot younger, I was very interested in drawing, figure drawing. So I had a book that actually I just the way I study books is that I just copy everything in the book, and that was what I used to get better at drawing figures. Like the mannequin technique, I just used to like briefly get out this figure. I learned that like when I was very young. I think like 13 years or 14 years. I learned that. Um, but I've always like improved on it, like adding shapes and things like that, different techniques for figure drawing. So I still had to like consciously and intentionally improve. So it's not linear, it's never linear. You just learn a little bit here, a little bit there. So you could say like if we have like a graph for what the hell do they call it? For art fundamentals, and this is perspective, and this is color, and this is value, and this is anatomy. Yeah, there's probably more, but let's just say this. Yeah, and you start out, and your graph is probably something like this. Yeah, it's probably something like this. Very tiny. Yeah, maybe 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%. And then, you decide to consciously improve. You might decide to improve on perspective first. So your perspective, you could take it up by another 10%. You could decide to take your color by 20%. You could decide to, or 50%. You decide to take your value by 2%. You could decide to take your anatomy by 90%. Yeah, so this might be what your graph looks like after a few years, but it's not linear. So this could increase, the numbers could increase in different directions. And then after a few years again, if you decide to come back and work on your perspective to balance it with your anatomy. So let's say your anatomy could have improved by just 1%, but then your perspective would improve drastically, then your color would improve drastically, then your value could improve just a little bit, and then everything is looking like this. But to achieve true balance, there are people that, of course, have achieved like their charts are extremely high, like everywhere is full. But I wouldn't say anyone is like 100%, but it takes time and like it's not linear. How you doing, Chris? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day.
Captured in here, and so I'm gonna end up with some extra folds in here as it wraps around. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw just a simple circle shape instead of drawing a skull because it's really not what we're concentrating on here. And I'm gonna start to draw these shapes coming up around. I want this shape to be very crisp, and so I'm gonna go with some very hard lines. I'm gonna go with curves as much as I can possibly get away with drawing arc lines. I'd like to do that. And now, like I showed earlier on, basically this shape going down here, another small one in here, big one here, maybe one more here, starting to wrap this way, and I'm gonna create a pattern like this. And this is just gonna be holes in my cape to make things a little bit more interesting. Wrapping this up like this and back down, and I'm creating essentially a pin fold here, just like this. I want to give this a little bit more character than what I had. Felt like it was just a little bit boring when I start to draw these in. And my cape connects back down through here and gets kind of folded across the back. So I'm going to start to draw some of those in there, and then they'll come out these bigger shapes here, extending away. And that's basically going to be it for the sketch there. For that part, I'm going to move on to the other shoulder. Wrap over same kinds of shapes. Just like that. And now from here, and this is going to be an old cape again here. I want to give it a little bit more character. These are all connecting up to the hand here. And something that I didn't point out earlier on, and I just did here, I'm going to draw basically a point when I've got folds coming out from, and draw a shape for the bottom here. And so here's my folds attaching at the bottom. But my fabric is punching up here. And so I can't just have that attached there. What I end up having is this kind of a shape here. And I'll do another one here. And so all it is drawing a fold, extending out into a larger fold. And you don't want it to be even like the way that I did it here and a little bit too uniform. But that's essentially what I'm doing. And I just did one here. And I can do another one here. And I'm just creating little folds inside where my larger folds started. So there's the end of my cape here. And now I'm going to create some diagonal folds as they crisscross into each other here. So I'm just going to start with simple crisscrossing, just like this. Line crossing past another one. And we'll take that much further in just a second, which is to get that established. That's what we'll do there. And for this case, I'm going to go ahead and ignore the color, so let's just get rid of that. And I think in order for this figure to make sense, I need to take out my fingers a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and just really quickly block in some shadows here. Simply, but just enough to give me something to go on.
Jesus, man. Look how quickly he's applying the shadows.
I think you're really, really roughly.
Bruh. I'm going to have to let me increase this just a little bit. I need to see this clearly. I need this to be clear so I can see it. Okay, let's see. This should be, yeah, this is going to take a while for me to get this detail across. Spawn is such a cool character, cool looking character, by the way. Uh, have to apply the shadows. I don't want the shadows to look terrible, so I'm just going to have to be a little bit patient with myself so that I can get it well, or at least get a consistent hatching line. Especially since like the shading doesn't really work with this guy. Uh, dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I'm just going to go straight to the areas that have shadows. I'm not necessarily going to like, you know, ink everything like in totality. Just a few of the areas that I deem matter, you know. Can't believe us now made it to the final, man. Anyways, shadow over here. Ah, I think I messed that guy up. It's 6 feet higher the ground and everybody knows. Okay. I didn't get the angle right. I added too much keep to the character, so I'm going to pretend like I didn't make that mistake. The angle that I placed the legs to is not it's not very good. I'm seeing so many errors. That's what happens when you don't take your time. Yeah. Anyways, we're studying capes, yeah, not figure drawing. So that's my excuse. It's 6 feet higher the ground. Everybody knows it. Feet higher the ground. What the hell did I just do? Errors everywhere. Errors everywhere. Errors everywhere. Ah, so bad. So bad. Anyways, I'll keep going. The high of the crown. Mm. I think the shadows are coming out nicely. I'm not giving him the mass muscle that he deserves. Yeah, we just put that in the bin for now. Some formulated anatomy over here. Okay. Mastantuono. What am I missing? Mm. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. It takes me higher the ground. It's 6 feet higher the ground. Okay. This thing is taking time, but if there's anything I've noticed is that I'm faster these days. I'm just gonna do that like that, man. Okay, the torso, his torso then. That one there was a violation personally. I wouldn't have it. Not bad. Orlean Giomeni. Ah, what have I done? Made an error. Massive error. Yeah, I don't like what I did there, man. It's always all right to erase your mistakes, yeah? That's what the eraser is there for. Modification. Anyways, dun, 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 dun. 6 feet high off the ground. All right, I think after this, I'll just focus on the capes because that's what we're here to do. As much as it's fun to draw like a nice figure, it's also important to that we stay on business. Yeah, David Finch is David Finch. I don't know why suddenly I just started thinking about my pen's lead finishing. It's digital art, bro. So if you're drawing and you're not feeling good about the way like a part of the drawing is going, or you're not feeling very confident about it, another thing you could do is that you could always just move to another side of the drawing because you know the thing about art in general and confidence is it's all about evidence. It's all about proof that you can actually do something. Yeah, so once you've completed a part, it's evidence to your self-esteem that you can actually finish a part of a drawing. And then when you then go back to that part that was giving you issues, you feel a bit more confident because you're seeing completion in another part of the drawing. It's one thing I've learned about illustration in general. If one side is giving you issues, work on another part. Okay, I'm just going to leave that arm for now.
Really, really roughly locked in with lighting. I wanted to do just enough that I have something to base the lighting on.
Probably should have
Right
made the
here.
cape
I thought it looked a little strange
wider.
floating on top of a completely bare figure. And so I'm gonna go ahead and start to add in my shadows. This is a raised portion here, I've got one here, so I'm gonna put in just a little shadow there. I'm gonna do the same thing here. Again here, up to my head here. And I want to think in terms of some jagged shapes too. So I've got a shape here, another one here. You can see I'm just creating some interesting little jagged kind of shapes makes it look much more interesting than if I just went with some curve. And so I'm going to be doing that a lot. And there's really not a lot of explanation I can give to that other than trying to show you these sorts of shapes and see you look up for them as I'm drawing them. And because I've got these broader shapes watching, I'm drawing holes basically like this in here as it gets closer to where it's connected. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. way, so you can look at this like line mix. For line mix, basically what I would do is I let a curve and another curve intersecting, and if I'm letting from here, I'm going to go thicker here up to this connection point and accentuate that connection point. And as I round up to the light, my light again is coming from here. I'm going to get much thinner, and I can even break it up so it's just not visible. So I'm going to do the same thing here as I get away from the light, but much thinner. And so a lot of that concept is what I'm doing here. I'm going to go thinner here, and then thinner here, thinner here, thinner here. I want to make sure it's short of that connection point, just like I did here. And now this is going to be underside. The other side here is going to create a little bit of shadow. I want to put in one of these kinds of shapes here, another one in here, and I'm making sure just to give it some nice character. I can do the same thing again here. Just making the line jagged. You know, thicker here, so away from the light.
Oh yeah, that's
Thicker
true.
here and here. And just with my underside here, even a little jagged piece up there. And that's really all there is to it. Now I'm going to cast a shadow over my figure here. And I'm going to cast shadow over these shapes here, these circle shapes here. I think I'll cast a bit of a shadow under here. That's going to do it for the top part. This here will be shadowed out. Just go dark in there. And I think this will be dark in here. It's the inside of my cape, away from the light, really. Let's go nice. We're just going to go ahead and dark here. And darken it in here, too. And I'm going to start to just shadow in some pockets of the cape where I know it's going to be completely dark. Because it's all the way there away from the light. Some of this will be dark here, too, but I want a little bit of detail in here, so I'm not just going to completely shadow that out. Another shape here. And I'm just going to basically interlock these shapes. Just like this. Get some kind of interesting sort of jagged shapes fitting together. That's going to do it there. And that's going to shadow under here. I really want to cast a shadow from this whole area, and so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to mirror what I had here. I've got a circle here, and I'm mirroring that shape because I'm casting a shadow from this whole shape here. So let's go ahead and draw that in. And so that's going to be good enough to get across that that is draping over. And I've got another drape here. Shadow that here. This whole thing will shadow over here. And this part here is going to also shadow under, just like that. And I'm going to start to come out here. And I'm going to make this dark. As I go far under here. I want this shape here to cast a shadow behind it. Just like this. This shape here is already kind of casting a shadow. Now, I don't want this to be completely just flat, and so I'm going to just make some jagged shapes to get some nice kind of bold indication in there. The more jagged I go with that, the more it just really seems to be like some interesting folds. I've got a bit of a curve under here, so let's just go ahead and get that little shadow. And again, create some interesting kind of jagged shapes there. And I wish I could tell you something a little bit more scientific than jagged shapes, but that's the extent of my understanding of these kinds of shapes. And this is really based on observation. So trying to be really scientific about it, I suppose I could, but I've never felt the need beyond just getting some shapes that need have a bit of a shape already indicating here. Let's go ahead and put that in. And then this is gonna shadow right here. Yes. This will shadow in here.
Yo, I can't lie, man. Doing capes is exhausting. I guess that's probably why I didn't make any character of mine have like capes or anything, because I have to like draw the figure and then I have to also do the capes and like put up, bruh. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. The most I did is that I don't know the word for that stuff that they call that the characters usually wear. Sort of like Viltrumite outfits where they just have something flowing like a skirt or something like that. Yeah, that's more what I did. Anyways, seems like there's just a bit more. Ah yeah yeah. Ah yeah yeah. Ah yeah yeah. Ah yeah. I'm feeling like I could do better than what I did here. Let's try something different. Let's try something different. Let's do that. And then let's do this. Mm, yeah, I think that works. I think that looks good. That's a nice fold. What else? Yeah, my cape is not exactly like his own, especially because I was sort of doing my own thing. So I guess I'm going to have to figure some part of this by myself without him holding my hands.
But what I'm going to do right now, I've got another shadow here. So that's what I have now. But I want this to be a little bit more connected. It's nowadays, it really starts to be a case of just putting together my overall shadow now that I've got the major elements defined. Another piece here, I'm starting to obscure what I had going on here with the shadow. Maybe that's a little read. If it doesn't, I might change it just to make it a little bit more obvious. And I think I'm going to end up obliterating it by shadowing a little more here, but I think it needs it. And this is really all a judgment call. Because I'm not using reference directly, I'm having to decide somewhat where I want my shadows to fall. And I think that's going to be enough to give me what I want here. So from there, I had some diaper folds just in here draping over. So we'll go ahead and ignore that. And we've got diaper folds here, so we'll go and use these. And so this piece here is casting a shadow over here rather than there. This piece here is casting a shadow here. And the shadow gets wider as it gets. So I've got my shape here, another shape here, and another shape here. These are my folds. Because these two edges are much closer together, my shadow is going to be much closer. These two edges are much further apart, so my shadow starts to get much wider. So it ends up like that. And the same thing's going to happen here. And so with these, what I want to do is I'm just going to start creating some interesting jagged kind of walls that interconnect. And for this, I really recommend looking at artists like Kelly Jones and Frank Wrightson. They do these kinds of shapes beautifully. If there are direct rules be aware of. But this, I don't understand them well enough to really be able to explain them properly. I really think this is a place where observation works well, and you can find great examples of this from life drawing or from other artists. And I always recommend looking at artists that do really well because they tend to break down shapes in ways that make it a little bit easier for you to understand than trying to interpret life. I recommend doing both, but definitely look at other artists and don't ignore just how much you get from the other artist's interpretation. So I'm just connecting all these shapes together, like reconnecting with my shapes. And that's created the kind of effect that I'm looking for there. Maybe put another one in here, just like this. And my leg should really be casting a shadow over this whole area. Let's just go ahead really leaves us with this area here. And I'm going to do the same thing I did here. I'm going to start here and get much wider with it because this is further away. And I'm just going to go ahead and cast all these shadows. And a shadow under here, and here, a shadow here. This is going to give me a pretty good shadow here. Something like this. This whole thing will cast a shadow. I want to open it up just a little bit because I've got a hole here. So I'm going to make sure to reflect that the shadow that it casts is here. I think I really should have gone further. This whole thing, shadow, just like this. Another shadow here, and this whole area, I think I'm gonna shadow down from there. And right now, what I'm doing is I'm using really simple logic to get my basics down. Now from here, I want to start to define some of these little shadows here as things bunch up. I think I'm gonna give this just a little bit of a shape here. And I'm just starting to create smaller folds inside my larger folds. I'm gonna go a little heavier here. And again, to make it a little more interesting, I'm gonna give it a jagged shape there. Lightning.
Yo, this guy is moving at blistering pace, It's moving fast. Let me catch up first to some of the parts that he's working on. Hmm. Yo, it's over an hour. It's over an hour. I should be rounding up. This is a 30 minute video, tutorial video. If anyone is interested in the original video, they can check it out. Um, they can. I have put the link in the description for the original video. I always put the link in the description if anyone is interested. They can always check it out. Okay, that's not looking bad at all. I think I remember the first time I actually drew a cape. It was when I was in primary 4. Can't remember how old I was exactly. But I saw Batman on a school bag, on someone's school bag, and I was just itching to draw it. especially with the cape. I think it was from a Batman animated series, the bag, and yeah, that was the first time I drew. I drew it at I tore a sheet of paper from my exercise book. That time, if like a teacher found out you tore a sheet of paper, they'd skin you. So I had to I had to be smart about it. I tore a sheet of paper, and I can't believe they'd be mad if you tore a sheet of paper from your book, from your own exercise book that your parents bought for you. Mad. Anyways, that was the first time I actually drew a cape. Other times was when I was watching Justice League. Was it called Justice League of America or something like that? Okay. I think I did an alright job. Yeah. I might just stop it here. Not bad. Could be better.
Draw another shape here. You can see how this is not really connecting because I didn't finish the hand here. So let me just go ahead and finish that here. And just light it enough that it all connects through. And so there you go. That's a pretty complex shape. And you can see that it's using all the same rules that we learned earlier on and just putting them together. Let me give this some light weight just to finish it up. Just clean things up a little bit. Okay, so there's an overview of my approach for drawing cubes. I really recommend that you find artists that draw cubes well in the way that you'd like to draw them. Draw your own studies based on their technique. That's really how I would kind of do this. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to tune in every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern or Monday Night Draw with Meredith and Abe, and I will see you in the next video.
All right, guys. I think that's it for this video. That's what we've been able to do. Have a look at the drawings or studies that we just did. I think they're pretty cool. Not bad. Yeah, just a quick exercise on how to draw folds and capes and things like that. Of course, you know, because we've done one study doesn't necessarily mean that's the be all and end all. That's like the last study you ever have to do regarding like you know drawing capes or doing clothes or drawing folds. Yeah, you actually have to take your time. Like if there's a part in your comic or like your story, or you ever find yourself needing to draw a cape or cloth, always go online and look for references, and all these things will become a little bit more familiar to you. Yeah, and yeah, that's how learning works, that's how studying works, and eventually you get good and you go to the next level. But I just wanted to do this because, well, I'm watching David Finch's video to like continually pick one or two things at least once a day, just spend an hour a day just doing the studies. They're quite fun, they're quite enjoyable. I like the way he teaches, and I suggest like everyone at least should do something like this. It doesn't need to be every day, you just need to, it could be once a week where you just pick something. The essence of this is to, progress in your art journey. Anyways, that's it for today. That's it for me. Have a wonderful rest of the day.